My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're gonna learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups, they're from different companies, they're from all kinds of different backgrounds, they've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're gonna do after we're done.
Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit terraplexag.com.
What's up? Welcome to Williams and Blum Wednesday, the 14th of August. My name is Chris Williams, joined as always by Brent Blum, as we are finally live back in the studio. You can see
a while.
It has been a while, and you can see this beautiful new bottle. This is the new bottle of Cody Road Bourbon, the Cyclone Fanatic Edition for 2024. Have you seen these yet?
No.
Up close?
What do you think?
I love it.
I got some Diet Coke in here.
Oh, you want to dump whittle that in there?
Okay.
This is, these will be in stores soon. I don't believe they're in stores yet, but we'll have our event, our annual event, which of course Blum's We Will Collective is a big part of now, where we're going to raise money for that on Friday night in LeClaire at the Mississippi River Distilling Company. We do still have tickets available, and you can go all throughout the Cyclone Fanatic social media feeds and find ways to purchase those tickets. I know some of our friends from Wiffles are going to be there on Friday night. The Jones sisters.
That's right.
Ashley and Kelsey. I almost said Aubrey. Get them all mixed up. We got Jones.
Future Hall of Famer Ashley Jones.
We got, yeah. Oh, is that announced?
No, I mean, I'm gonna write it down. It's
that's
give her 8 years.
That's fair. But this is the new bottle, and I think it's really cool. So get this pick up one of these for your tailgates. The guys over at Cody Road do an amazing job, and they are passionate Iowa State fans, man. Ryan is as real as they come.
Favorite night of the year.
So we'll see y'all in Eastern Iowa on Friday night. We are presented as always by Mechdyne here in the Wild Rose Casino Studios.
How many Fran McCaffrey jabs should I insert into the program? Like, how many is too many?
No, I don't think you can have too many.
Just
of those.
play the hits, man. When you're over there,
It's like when we were in Omaha, and you just
you do the Nebraska
you're
stuff.
bebopping all over the Huskers. Just scatting
I've gotten
all over
ready
them.
to go.
Bloom was on one in Okoboji.
I was feeling pretty good.
And then Billy Fenley was on one in Okoboji.
I was getting a lot of text messages about.
We had a good time.
Well, y'all had been drinking all day.
Not all day. I mean, the golf course, the Emerald, it was a great course, and the Ames Lager was a flowing.
Yeah, well.
And the great thing about Okoboji is you can pick on not only the Iowa folks, but you get some Nebraska.
And then I wasn't there, so I was taking.
So you got picked on.
I'm taking shots left and right.
It was a great atmosphere for a good time.
I deserved it for not being there. I'm fair game. Fair game. Jeff Woody will be there with us on Friday night.
Nice.
And working on a couple other people as well, but it'll be a blast. Then I know Ryan has a couple food trucks, all that good stuff. We are both committed to staying the night, so that means last couple years I've had to drive back, so that means I wasn't.
You weren't as fun.
No, I'll be fun.
Okay.
It'll be fun on Friday. We'll have Diffie the dog.
Diffie the dog's going to be there.
We got a couple of fall camp topics. Daniel Jackson's injury, we'll hit on that. Before we do that, man, did you see the J.J. McCarthy news? This is not Iowa State related, but it is the most predictable thing I've ever. So McCarthy goes out there, and I'm a Vikings fan. Most of you know, Blum is too.
I'm halfway in.
You're a Wongwu guy.
I am a Wongwu guy.
You're a Wongwu
Well,
guy.
he had touchdown.
Yeah.
He's probably going to play a lot.
He's good. He's just been hurt a lot and whatever. But, and I didn't watch the game the other day. I was traveling, and I'm not going to take my family vacation and turn it into a watching the Vikings preseason. I'm not that sick. They're going to have enough of those in the next few months. And I'm getting all these texts and these Twitter alerts about how great JJ McCarthy looks in his Vikings debut. And I'm just like, people, calm down. For one, it's week 1 of the preseason. He's not playing against starters. Like, just everybody chill out. But 2, have we learned nothing as Vikings fans over the years? Nothing positive. If the only way something positive happens to our franchise is if it's setting us up to be tortured later. Brett Favre is a perfect example. I truly believe. Do you believe in a higher power?
I do.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily know what it is. I think there's a lot of things at play in the universe.
Okay.
I truly believe that whoever was they pushed Brett Favre to the Minnesota Vikings just to torture us. I think it was a Packer, whoever the evil, Satan who controls football up there. I think he pushed them to the Vikings just to screw with us because it made us really uncomfortable. Like, should I be rooting for this guy? And he takes you all the way to the ledge, and then he stabs you in the back. It was all the Packers' God working against us. This was never going to work. And I get it, it's just a meniscus, but he's out for the year, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. All of you idiot Vikings fans who were going nuts over the weekend, shame on you. You are stupid.
This is your coping mechanism here. And
this is my safe
feel
space.
like you're there's a couch
like,
right
how
there.
dumb are you if you were a Vikings fan going crazy about this preseason game the other day?
Talk to me now, because I haven't been paying enough attention. There's not a lot of hope for the Vikings this year, right?
I mean, I didn't think so. Like, it was a rebuilding year to me.
So it's Sam Darnold time?
Yeah, it's fine, and I'm okay with that.
So that raises a good question, though.
I'm okay with Darnold just playing.
2009 was a really good year for the 2009, 2010.
2009 was the Favre year.
Would you have traded? Would you do it again, knowing what you know now? Because that year was really fun, right? I mean,
it's just the problem with it.
It's a great conversation. And again, as an Iowa State fan, it's similar.
Can Randall Cunningham be my quarterback?
No, you got to live it again. Would you live through that season again? You got all the way to the NFC Championship game, correct?
I almost got a divorce that night. I'm serious. There's 2 days in my life where I almost got in a divorce. That night, and then the infield fly, Chipper's last game.
Which was the correct call?
Against you guys. She was so pissed at me. She couldn't understand. If it weren't for my late grandma, Jean, I think that Ashley and I would have got a divorce that night.
Might have been it.
But anyways.
But on real talk, it does show in this sport in particular, that position, there's so much writing on it in the health. And again, knock on wood, but even bring it to Iowa State, it's Iowa State centered podcast. It's a legit question. Rocco played all of last year. Again, we're not. It is something every team has to prepare for, and I think it's an honest question of who would be the backup long term.
Great piece by Rob Gray from Cyclone Fanatic yesterday out of Campbell's availability. You forget how Rocco was kind of just okay to start the year.
For sure.
The Iowa game, and then the Ohio game was a disaster.
And he played well.
But he was sick. He was sick, and we all kind of in a weird way. I know we had private conversations. If we would have said it publicly, we would have gotten killed.
Yep.
We all kind of felt okay about Rocco coming out of the Ohio game because we knew what he was up against physically, and then how he ended that game. We were not in the bench Rocco, but you do forget when you think about his freshman year, but you think wow. Big 12 freshman of the offensive player of the year, all that stuff.
Threw for 440 in a bowl game.
But it didn't start like a slam dunk.
100%. Well, a year ago at this time, there was still a debate if Rocco was even going to be the starter.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Hassel was all in the J.J. Cole band, if you remember on our show.
I do.
It was a big talking point.
But that Ohio game, in a weird way, that's going to be one of those games where it's like that Texas game in 17, where a lot of that shifted the mentality in some ways, two ways. Number one, with you're on the hot seat. Like, remember that
hot
ordeal?
Seat guy.
Hot seat guy.
Yeah.
Remember hot seat guy? And that, I think that, like, legitimately was like, it was all right, we got to go now. Like, it was very much because the next week we joked about the air raid. I think that loss to Ohio was an insult to everybody. It's like, is this really who we are as a program? No. Like, we got to be better here. But Rocco bought himself a lot of fans within that locker room with what he did that day. Mm-hmm.
I heard, like, not to be too graphic, but it wasn't like, oh, he threw up it was like projectile vomit, like bad. Like, everybody could see it. Everybody knew how sick he was.
Like, couldn't even get into the locker room at halftime, like on the fence.
It's like, that's our guy.
And he went back out there and played really well. But it's very much man, you're a leader.
We're gonna go to battle.
And
with
then
this
the
dude.
next week played really well against Oklahoma State, and it's been. And I actually thought the game against Oklahoma, Iowa State moved the ball pretty well in that game, and it was that first time I'm like, okay, we're gonna be all right. Between Rocco and Jalen and Jaden and Ben, and then it just kept building. And by the end of the year, Iowa State's offense was one of the better ones in the Big 12. Iowa State averaged 29.8 points per game last year. Iowa State's only averaged more than 30 points twice in the last.
And that's a really bad start.
Yeah, and that's the bad start. Iowa State's only averaged more than 30 points, I think, twice the last 40 years. And yes, college football has changed. I totally get that. But I think this offense, if it stays on that level where it was the last 5 to 6 games, could be at that level where I think Iowa State ended up finishing 75th total. I think you could have a top 35 offense. And if your defense doesn't fall back too much, I think, again, we talked about it on Sunday. I believe this offense will be as good, potentially, as the Brock Purdy ones. I do. Now, number-wise, is it going to be 1-to-1? We'll find out. But I think weapon-wise, it's right there. And you put up enough points, I think this team, I think we're in for a special ride. However, what the McCarthy thing illustrates to me is you're an injury away from it can get kind of sideways. And we saw that this week with Iowa State. And you feel for the young man, but Daniel Jackson, who has gone through so much in his career, gets hurt. He's out for the year with a lower body injury, and that's the perilous time of this sport. Is like, you just don't know. And Iowa State ran through a bunch of injuries on defense last year, but offensively they were pretty much okay. If I'm trying to remember everything, you just hope that you stay that way, because that position in particular, quarterback, there's some big question marks behind Rocco.
Want to thank a couple sponsors, and then we are live today, so a bunch of you are putting comments in the chat. We'll try and go back and forth with you just here a little bit. I want to talk about Daniel Jackson and a few other things. I want to talk about Anthony Johnson and the piece that Josh Flickinger wrote for us at Cyclone Fanatic. But we are presented, as always, by our friends at Gravitate Co-working. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com for all of your co-working needs. The back to school, maybe you're looking for a place to get. I am ready for school to start.
I am too.
Are the boys ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Oh,
It's gotten to the
gosh.
point where it's like, okay, what kind of trouble could you get in tonight?
Yeah, feeling you there. But it's a reset for everybody. Maybe you need a new place to work if you're a home worker. Gravitatecoworking.com. I want to thank our friend Hope Wood. HopeWoodJD.com. You can get your will done in a day. Got a text from our friend of ours, Ross. You know Ross.
Yeah.
Not Ross Peterson, but Ross, a Cyclone fan.
Yep, I know Ross.
But he just recently used Hope for all of his estate and all that stuff, and he said she was phenomenal. He goes, you guys have amazing advertisers, and I was like, you couldn't be more right. So HopeWoodJD.com. She continues to help people. We are presented, as always, by Kelderman Manufacturing. I'm going to be down there on September 4th. Maybe you could come down for that. RVTVs in Oskaloosa. We should do Williams and Blum from Kelderman's.
I'm in.
That day. I'm going to be down there for sure.
Harvey TV still kicking.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, I'm going to be down there because Kelderman's going to be a big part of that. So I'm going to go down there and do
Hey,
a
if
show.
Kelderman wants me there, I'll be there.
You gotta
He's
do,
the best.
You gotta do
that
what,
guy is just
do
awesome.
what Kelderman. Also, my friends at Game Day Men's Health. not a load of crap here. I'm down 20 pounds. I feel better than I have in 10 years. They are amazing at what they do. I go to the Game Day Men's Health in Ankeny. You go in there and you get a test, and they say, hey, we think you could use this. Maybe they say you're fine and you don't need anything. Ankeny, West Des Moines, also in West Liberty. But I feel I have more energy than I have, and really, I'm not kidding, since my kids were born.
You look good.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
look good.
You look good yourself. Game Day Men's Health. They have locations all over the country. I saw one in Dawsonville, Georgia last week.
Where's Dawson? Is that there's a
Austin
track
Bill
there.
from Dawsonville.
There's a track there?
No, that's where Bill Elliott's from.
Oh, Bill Elliott, of
Bill
course.
and Chase Elliott from there.
Speaking of, I was going to talk to you about this on Sunday.
Talking about the NASCAR
That's
finish?
not a sport.
I agree.
That
It's a terrible look for
was
it.
horrible.
You are not going to.
Like, the guy wrecked 2 cars and he gets to win and make the playoffs with it. Like, what are we
horrible.
doing?
They've got to do something different.
Like, the college football has more morals than that.
You can't just. And if you deliberately try and kill the quarterback, you're going to get kicked out of the game, and like there's a huge penalty involved. That
I
guy.
don't understand. Like, I was watching, like, what is
That
going
guy
on
had
here?
no chance to win the race,
And
and he just used that guy as a bumper car.
And I give the analyst credit. He's like, look out.
You know,
he's gonna try and wreck him. I'm like, what is going on?
The pit road guy who did the interview, I give credit to. I don't even know who it was, but he says when Dylan gets out the car, listen, I start talking about racing and my grammar
Yeah.
goes to shit.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car and
the Southern Iowa comes
Yeah.
out, everybody.
well, you should have seen me down in Dawsonville, Georgia,
I bet.
with all my mom's relatives down there. They're not literal relatives, but all these Southern people it's crazy. And shout out to our friend Brant too. He hooked me up with,
Brant.
got the kids to a Braves game. Brant's a big supporter of what we do here at Cyclone Fanatic. We love him. The Austin Dillon got out of that car, and the pit reporter goes, was that a fair move? Like, that was the first question that he asked him. And I was like, you're damn right, because I think in racing, we are, for the most part, a very soft media core. For the most part, I don't think enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Hard
traveling
questions.
with them all the time. It's probably
And you look at some of the leading voices in our sport, and they all are like car owners, and there's just too much of a conflict of interest for anybody to be really hard. And that son of a bitch from NBC went out and asked him. I was proud. I was like, hell yeah. And he gave a bad answer about how Jesus put him in that position to make the pass. And it was just like, I agree with you. Like, our sport took a big step towards being WWE on Sunday night.
I was entertained. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah, but it
don't know.
just takes the legitimacy.
It felt. I thought they'd like. I swear, can they like? If that was horse racing, the stewards would be like, "Nope, you don't win."
Yeah,
Horse racing has better morals than NASCAR at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, Daniel Jackson, Iowa State wide receiver, out for the season. It does sound like pretty good chance he'll want to come back, from what I understand, with a COVID year.
Yes, he has another year.
Let's discuss though what it means for this year's team. I guess if you were going to have a position where you're going to lose a little depth, that's not a bad spot. I feel bad for Daniel personally, but let's take all of that out of it and talk about the football aspect of this. I know Nagoye's ready to go.
Yep.
There's a lot of that sounds like the freshman from Utah is
really good.
Is having a really good spring. How do you think this impacts the team for the year?
And yes, don't want to be insensitive to Daniel at all. He's been through a lot.
And he was going to be a starter.
He was.
Yeah.
He is having a great camp. That is the position where you do have a little bit of luxury and depth. And so I don't think it impacts Iowa State really much at all, to be quite honest. It means, though, Eli Green step up, Isaiah Alston, who has been really good in camp.
2 guys that probably haven't been mentioned enough since Jackson got hurt.
Step up, but then Benny Nagoye, and you're right, the Utah kid Overby's been good, so I think he'll probably not redshirt now. And you've got 2 studs, though. 3 if you count Bramer, who's really a big receiving tight end. That is a position where you can weather some depth, I'd say more than any other position. But you just feel bad for Daniel. Now,
I would guess, too, Higgins and Knoll I'm not saying they're the best. They've got to be one of the top 10 combos in the sport.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Even numbers wise, not to mention potential wise. I think highly of
top
both.
10 is probably even conservative. I think you could say 5 even potentially.
And you throw Bramer in there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's legit. And then this Cooper Alexander, tight end, has been awesome. True freshman out of Oklahoma. Iowa State got him from Oklahoma. Really good player is going to play. And so you look at it and it's like, this isn't the worst case scenario long term because Daniel can come back next year. The receiver was a position where you need new bodies next year for sure. Daniel can do it at a high level. You're going to lose Knoll. You're going to lose Higgins. So honestly, this works out okay. Daniel is going through a significant injury.
Yeah, we're just talking about the team impact.
But I do think it actually, in a way, could help next year a little bit too, just to have some continuity back. And it gets you reps for Eli Green and Isaiah Alston. Both have great potential, but now they step into more of a leading role. And it's a great spot for both of those guys because with Knoll and Higgins, the tension is going to be on those two, like all the time. And so I think you're going to, I've heard both have been really good in camp too. So it's now their time.
Overby is, I heard he was really good.
That is going to be one. Yes, that's going to be one of those where it's like, how did Iowa State end up with that guy?
Well, and we'll tell the story again, and I know we have before, but the audience turns over. It's because in high school recruiting, you don't really recruit the senior year anymore with this new signing day, where Matt and Derek and those guys like to hold some scholarships for prospects who they believe really jumped from their junior to senior year. And that's how they got Overby. And it sounds like, again, we've said this before. Usually, when you start hearing things about a guy like right when he gets on campus, that usually hits.
The hit rate's pretty strong.
There's usually like an aspect of the it factor in it, and that is one that they seem to really like here. And Cooper Alexander is the other one who would pop as far as that offense goes. Nagoye was as well. I think Nagoye, my mind,
there. Yeah.
I mean, you saw him at the bowl game. He had a big
coming.
play. He's really good.
He caught a touchdown in the scrimmage on Saturday.
Okay, I didn't know that. But
yes,
okay,
he's. But again, you don't know the snap situation.
Correct.
The thing with Iowa State's offense is I still think its best group includes both Ben Bramer and Steve O'Klotz. And I know these people, it's two tight ends. It hasn't always worked. I think
Bramer's not like a normal.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's going to be fascinating because honestly, Iowa State hasn't had a lot of luck recently with young receivers that have grown into the program. You talk about a Gaines, an Essex, guys that really they were expected to do. Michael Parks, who
I was disappointed when Essex left. I thought he had some potential.
Yeah, and I think,
but he got stuck.
And then you hit on a Jaden Higgins who nobody offered.
Yeah,
and he's going to be an NFL guy. Like, what do you do? Like, you got to play the guy. So I think it'll be interesting to see that next iteration. And Noah Pauley, the wide receivers coach, is excellent.
I like him.
I think Iowa State has a future stud in that guy. I really like this offensive staff. So I think it's just a matter of time. But clearly, the murmurs we're getting from an Overby remind me a little bit of what we were hearing from a Ben Bramer at this time last year. Now, there's more depth ahead of Overby than there is where Bramer was a year ago. So there's no guarantee. And Bramer played a little bit because, there were some injuries in the tight end room.
I'm a pretty staunch believer that it's not terrible to sit and develop either.
No. And this is still a sport where Iowa State's best advantage in this world is going to be when you have 23 and 23-year-old guys, 24-year-old guys.
And who actually develop.
So I think, Overby's been good. I wouldn't count on him being.
Oh, no. He might redshirt.
He may not even play 4 games. That's the interesting part. But the long story short, that is a position where you could afford an injury. You don't want any more season-ending injuries.
Who would you slot into Jackson's spot? That's tricky.
It's Alston or Green.
It's one of those.
I think so.
Okay.
Benny's more on the outside, but they're all going to be a factor. I think this staff will like to play with at least 4 or 5 guys out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And then again, Bramer's like he's a tight end, yes, but he will play a lot of slot too. And then Carson Hansen is another guy
he can
who's
play
been really good, who they can use as a gadget type guy in the slot.
You know who he reminds me of is Percy Harvin. You remember how the Vikings used him specifically in the NFL? Florida did too, but it was a little bit different. But I think Hansen could be that type.
Yeah, and then on the running back front, Jalen Jackson continues to
that's
build
a
days.
name. What's
he
interesting?
Continues to do it.
I didn't hear a peep about him all spring, and it
got hurt.
sounds. Oh, okay. It sounds like he's been pretty good.
Yes, he has. So that's not a facade. That's a real deal.
Well, fall camp is always an exciting time. Connor and Rob were at availability yesterday. You can go watch Campbell's entire press conference on our front page.
Just the other thing, and I know there's been some internet stuff. As far as I know, nothing other significant injury-wise. You're going to deal with stuff, ankles, wrists, shoulders.
It's football.
There's going to be guys that if you go to a scrimmage, and although it's not really open, you may not see them. And there's some older guys who they're going to hold out.
Are you
just because
after
they
watching
keep them healthy?
The Iowa quarterback thing?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm torn. I would love for us to get more access, but watching those guys annihilate one another every August, it's kind of like, I get it.
Is it deflating for the fan base?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you kind of like, you set a tone where it's like, if you don't light the world on fire in week 1, everybody isn't freaking out. I also don't know, like the journalist guy in me is like, it's not really the responsibility of the coaching staff to be dictating PR and like how you should just give your fans as much access. But man, like never more than the last 2 of these Iowa Kids days where they just lose it about their quarterback. Okay, I don't like it, Campbell, but you win locking these things down. But the thing is, it's like I don't remember the last time I've been able to go to an Iowa State scrimmage in the fall. Like that's not like that was ever a thing. I don't know. It is interesting to me watching that. And then like, cause with Iowa State, the message is pretty controlled. I'm sure not everybody has looked good in the fall.
Yeah.
Like there's gotta be somebody who's like,
this is a disappointment.
yeah,
But you don't,
maybe we don't know
don't
about
know.
it. And everybody gets excited.
Well, then honestly, if you go to a scrimmage and you may not, if somebody's out, not playing.
Well, I'm
then
sure
this
like
become
Bo
like an
Freeler's not
emergency.
playing right now.
I would say that's a safe
There's
assumption.
no way that they're
Why
out here.
would he?
Yeah.
He has nothing to gain.
No.
And he's already been banged up his whole career. Like those are the things where I can see where the staff's like, it is not worth the questions that we're going to get for answers that we don't want to give right now. But on the other end, it is, I've thought watching the NFL preseason games this weekend, are we going to go to a world as college athletics becomes more professionalized where you want to get some reps in there?
What they should do, and they won't, but they should have a scrimmage between Iowa State and Northern Iowa and put it towards NIL. You need more money.
That.
Everybody's telling me we don't have enough money in this. Everybody says it. There's not enough money to pay the players.
But then you risk the injuries.
I get it. But same with basketball. Okay, fine. Use it for basketball. No, there's not enough money. We can't get to this money. Well, I promise you. Line them up. Pick an arena. I don't freaking care.
I got it. Yeah.
Pick an arena.
We tried this.
I kind of know, but I'm telling you people, charge $25 a ticket. All the proceeds go to pay the players. People will pay for it to get a look at the team. I promise you.
The NCAA did put the kibosh on that.
Why?
I don't know.
Everybody tells me there's not enough money.
Hypothetically, fans, would you have watched Iowa State play Creighton in Des Moines?
Come on.
Would you have done
People
that?
pay $100 a ticket to go
I
see
think I would have
that.
paid for that.
Even if they want to see JT
Tried
Rock.
it. We were this close.
I know. But I'm talking even like with football. So
I
you're
agree.
bringing it up. Okay. Oh, we need more money. Okay. Well, You're telling me like the fans aren't paying to see Bo Freeler. They want to see Dylan Lee. You know, like that's what college fans want. They don't need to see more from Jaden Higgins. They know what he is. Fine, play the.
Well, honestly, the reason why the NFL has those, was it 3 or 4 preseason games now, is they rope it into the season ticket.
Yeah.
And the seat license.
It's one of the reasons I dropped my Vikings
more
tickets.
money.
I had to pay the same amount for that than when the Packers came.
I honestly, C-Dub, I don't think it's that far out of the realm of each team in the future may get one preseason game. And you figure
well,
it out.
now like it makes sense for the school. The schools are now incentivized to do this because they have to find the money for the players.
You get let's hypothetically you play a non preseason game against Minnesota or you and I. You
like
sell,
an inter squad game like the NFL does.
It's either part of the, you don't even have to include it on part of the season ticket. You sell tickets for $20. I'm going to that.
Absolutely.
And you have 20,000 people there at $20. That's pretty good.
No, it needs to be like a real. It can't be like the spring game where
I know, but
where you're just taking reps but I'm telling you, people would pay for it.
I would.
You know what? Interesting. So we don't really have a rundown today. Blum and I are just catching up because we haven't really spent much time with each other for a while. I'm in Atlanta with the family, and I'm explaining to my daughter Cameron that being a Braves fan in the South, it's almost like how we are with the Cyclones, right? Like everything our family does revolves around Iowa State athletics.
Yeah, everyone listening to this right now is probably
Yeah.
planning their fall.
Absolutely.
Based on like,
You
and
all-
this has been a hot topic on the social media. Please cancel your wedding on a Saturday if you have one.
Stop
like,
it.
don't do that.
My point is that like I'm telling Cameron, I'm like that like in the South, the Braves, because she doesn't understand that baseball used to be like the most popular sport in the country. She can't comprehend that. But I'm like, in the South, this team still, because the Rays didn't exist, the Marlins didn't exist. If you lived anywhere in the Deep South, you were an Atlanta Braves fan growing up.
Yep.
You had TBS, you had this whole thing. And I'm telling her this, and I'm trying to explain to her that it's like being a Cyclone fan to these people, except there's just so many more of them. And I guess that's my whole point with this thing here in our state. When we're going into this new era, I think we can tap into that more. I really do. I think
agree.
that these people will give more if they feel like they are, and you guys have done a great job at We Will. I think now that the universities are involved, we can go to a whole other level. But we got to do like more, like the Ames Lager is great. Go buy it. You know, I actually had a We Will pizza the other night. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
Those are way better than I thought.
They're going to be in the stadium, by the way.
The breakfast ones are to die for.
We could only get 2 flavors in there though. Longer story, but no.
My
breakfast.
point is, we still do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of this matters.
Yeah.
I think the fans, like we need to do a Midnight Madness in Hilton Coliseum, and all of the money goes to the players.
So the question
Right?
for no,
People
it's,
will support it if they know that they're helping the team win.
the fear is donor fatigue. Like you keep getting asked for more and more and more
Quit
and
raising
more.
the price of our parking then. And we'll do it, you know. I mean, I'm not saying with Iowa State, but every time I go to a Vikings game, my parking gets higher, right? Like,
and they're going to keep charging as long as you pay, and the need to stay competitive. Like that's
my whole point, though, is if the fans feel like they're getting something more for it and that you're not just price gouging them, they're going to be more willing to do it.
yeah. And like we looked at
I
Midnight
get it,
Madness
though,
thing too.
the donor fatigue, that makes sense.
The problem is you're already spending how much on Cyclone Club, and then the season tickets, and then the parking, and now you want me to spend another
Couldn't we do
25.
it the Friday before a home football game?
We thought about it. It's just the math. Just going to be honest with everybody. We looked into a Midnight Madness event on a Friday before a home
I
football
didn't even
game.
know this.
Yeah.
So I just,
No,
okay.
this is
All right, good. I was leading in good
Yeah,
conversation.
it's a good conversation. The problem was the last Midnight Madness Iowa State did was 2017, which was the Monte Morris.
Yeah.
Just follow me here.
Yeah, I know. It just wasn't done very well.
And they got, I think it was like 1,900 people to show up. 1,900. Like that's, and then in addition to that,
I was there. I went to it. That was the Deontay Burton wore the Timberlands and dunked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we look at the math and it's like, well, it costs X amount to get staff there to staff the event because you don't just want no concessions, no ticket takers, no nothing. So there is a fee to do an event.
What do we have to do to get like a rapper there? And would that move the needle?
Perhaps Snoop's big right now. Get him up here. But no, that's the thing is like there's a
And then Kansas had to like apologize for Snoop's like
yeah,
lyrics.
I'm learning more and more on the fan side. It's like, oh, we should just do this. Well, there's
logistics.
There's logistics and there's costs, and it's not just like, okay, show up and do it.
I know. Do you see my point though? I think the fans will be willing to do, and I'm talking less about the Bergstroms of the world and the Sukups of the world, and more of like just regular people.
I tend to agree. The issue is, unless you know it's going, you're like you can like because I honestly I put this on the message board like, would you show up? And I'd say yeah, I'd be there. But then when the time comes and it's Friday night at 7:00 and it's cold out and you're like,
sell tickets in advance, I think, don't you?
Yeah, but it's like how many can you sell? I mean,
What
this
about
is where
a volleyball NIL night? And it's a We Will collective night at Iowa State volleyball Friday night before a football game. We're gonna give X amount to the volleyball program because they deserve it. These people are coming to watch them. I bet you would
like that idea,
quadruple the
actually.
crowd that they would normally get on a Friday night
I think
if
that's
people
it.
know that they're supporting the collective.
it's actually a really good idea.
Thank you. They would quadruple the crowd. You have to promote it, and you can't just have it be like a normal volleyball game. Okay? Like there's got to like so that Midnight Madness, I mean, frankly, I think they dropped the ball with it. I went to it and I took my kids and we were excited and it was kind of like that's it. You know, like you've got to make it. And the other
Worthwhile.
problem is that they had tried to do that for a bunch of years in a row. I think there was just some fatigue from it. I think if you do it now, it's too late now for this year.
Yes.
If they would have done it with this team, NIL involved, that thing would have gone nuts.
I thought so, but again, there's no guarantee.
God,
and so who's
I'm sorry if you're in the Jacobson building. I
No,
love
no,
you
I-
all.
I-
I'm trying to be constructive, not
they are awesome.
yeah. They are. I love them all.
And you can't just say
Marketing
it's gonna
staff
happen.
works very hard there. I'm not.
But it. Last time we did a Midnight Madness, there were less than 2,000 people.
I
there.
get it, and it was disappointing.
It would have cost more if that was the case to host the thing than to actually do it. And then
yeah.
you're asking these players for.
Well, I remember leaving that event being like, that was a total waste of my time.
But to your point, again, we're kind of going all over the place today.
No,
this is a
right.
classic. Iowa State's advantage in this space is in the numbers. And so with the Ames Lager, with the pizza, that's where we can really make a difference.
Yeah.
Everybody doing a little bit. And that's where those events, I think, can be great. Like the thing in over in LeClaire on Friday. Like I want to sell that out. That's where we can prove to the powers that be of we get numbers if we promote it and people show up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the track record has to get there in order to be able to pull off a bigger thing.
And I just think it's if you do stuff like that, you got to be outside the box. I don't think, like say, people wouldn't. I think they would if they went to it the first year and it's Iowa State and Minnesota scrimmaging and it looks like the spring game, people wouldn't go back. They're going to support it, but you got to give them something in return,
Like an actual football game.
I mean, really, like the spring game. Like I'm glad that they have it, but you really don't even know what you're watching.
It's a practice.
Right, yeah, and it's fine, and the diehards love it. I love it, right? Like I sat there with my notebook and I enjoyed it. But like to get like a casual, that's not really what that thing is for. If you want to really blow that thing up, it's got to be special in some way. It can't just be like, oh, the team's gonna do layup drills, and then we're gonna have a frickin' whatchamacallit, like a
quick 3-point.
yeah, like it's got to be. I don't know what the answer is, but there's really smart people who can figure out something better than me.
Yeah, and again, I think all ideas are on the table. It's just as a fan, what is important? Being asked too much or not enough here? You know, what's that fine line of? I get it. We've purposely this summer kind of stopped doing some of the. So many asks all the time with the Venmo and all this stuff because like people get a little fatigued about it.
Yeah.
So you got to pick your spots.
No, you're
But
right. It's smart.
It's it's certainly an interesting discussion, and I still back to the point. Iowa State's advantage in this space, like you started with, is in the numbers and people showing up
Again,
and doing every little thing that it can.
And that takes me back to the parallel with the Braves because, like, again, I'm explaining to my daughter, the only thing she knows that you can be that passionate about is the Cyclones because of our family and just the way that we live. And she knows that when we go on vacation in the Ozarks, like the dinner table conversation with extended family we are talking about the Cyclones 70% of the time. And I'm explaining to her that's what the Braves are like down here.
That's good. So a little teaser on that same note. You didn't even know we were going to do this. We are going to have I'm planning it right now. I got a brainstorm. I want to set a record first week of the year for game week. So the 26th most NIL donations in a week through the collective. We're going to have a special to kick off the year. My goal would be to get 2,000. Can we get 2,000 Cyclones to give
Easy.
1858
No.
1858 amounts? That's when Iowa State was established.
I've learned over the years.
Need your help with that.
I can help you with that. I've learned over the years with my St. Baldrick's and all these things, you need to get one of those little
thermometers.
Yes.
You got
to add the thermometer.
we got some giveaways we're going to tag. So it's going to be fun. But
Iowa
again,
State fans love the thermometer.
What you all can do listening, it's again, Iam's Log or the pizza, all this stuff. And what recruits, I've talked to recruits, they love the fact, honestly, I had a parent tell me this last week, that our We Will Twitter has 10,000 followers. They're like, people care about the collective. That's really cool.
They do. They really care.
People see that, and we may not have a Phil night, but we have you guys, and your 10, 15, 1858 at a time does add up because the players, the recruits, they see that. They see that engagement.
Blum, I'll give you 1958.
Well, buddy, that's good enough for me, pal.
I'm trying to help because I truly believe in this fan base, and the passion means so much. Like, would you rather have... I don't know all the specifics. I think of a place like Pitt in the ACC, right? Like bigger metropolitan. Like, would you rather have like all those people to grab from who don't really care that much, or would you rather have a smaller amount of people who are insanely passionate? And it's not that easy. Iowa State fans, I'm sorry, but are notoriously cheap. Like over the years, when it comes to donations, they just are. Been at for the longest time, right? When Jamie got here, that was the thing to grow the Cyclone Club.
And it has grown.
And it has grown tremendously. But that's where I think we can tap into hey, when you do this, when you go to this volleyball game on a Friday night, you're directly supporting the collective.
You're onto something. So,
and it's great for the volleyball players.
It's great, and they're
going to have a huge crowd.
Do you know a lot of the volleyball players are dating football players?
You've told me this.
Yeah. Great couples.
I like Christy too, man. She's probably
awesome.
Don't do enough Christy Johnson Lynch.
21 years now.
I know. She's impressive.
Remarkable. Might be the most impressive turnaround in Iowa State history. And that
Women's
includes Dan
basketball's
McCartney. They're both pretty good too. Dan McCartney was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
there's a lot of impressive turnarounds.
Johnny Orr didn't do bad.
No, considering where they were, absolutely.
Okay, there we go. I didn't know we were going to get into all that.
All over the place.
Anything else? Any other meat to pick off the bone for you today here on Williams and Blum Wednesday?
No,
back regular for the rest of the year.
Football wise, it's coming. I got a lot of good feedback from our conversation Sunday. I think the vibes are great right now. Like they really are. And again, the Jackson thing is a bummer. You just hope you stay healthy all the way through. And that's the interesting part with our conversation on doing a preseason or a whatever game. The last thing you'd want though is to get somebody hurt. And that'd be a non-starter.
I get it. But I almost wonder if you promote the thing like we're running scout team, but we're going to play it like
7-on-7 types.
Maybe you're not. I would go to that. And I'm guessing a lot of
yeah.
And again, I realize that staffing's hard right now. You go to any athletic event across the country, and they're having a hard time finding workers.
Yeah,
and
it's
all that.
expensive.
But it's just like, God, if we need more money,
how do you do it? It's in the numbers. Always in the numbers. So we got to lean on.
You just got me going with the preseason thing. Because we've seen that with basketball. You have these exhibitions, right?
Yeah.
Well, why do you do an exhibition and then everybody in the crowd, your ticket goes to the collective? Sure, the athletic department might eat it on staff for one night, but you make enough money, like you can make up for it.
And honestly, why not another extra tailgate? Who says no to another tailgate?
Yeah. Open up the RV lot.
I don't even know if it's possible. Like, there might be an NCAA rule against.
Well, that's what we do. We throw out irrational ideas,
And people tell us you're dumb.
and then people can say, no, this won't
is
work,
not
you
possible,
morons.
you dummy.
It's a story of my life.
Yeah.
Thank our friends from the Iowa State University Foundation. MoveWhatMatters.com. You can check them out today. I also want to thank our friends at the Iowa Clinic, the Iowa Clinic Men's Center. I have had, I'm not going to dive too much into it because it's nothing serious, and frankly, it's none of your business, but I've been going to a specialist at the Iowa Clinic for the last couple months now, and she is a listener of the show, and Doc, you know who you are. You have helped me immensely, and I really, really appreciate the great service. Had a situation the other day, daughter had an ear infection, could not get into the pediatrician. Boom. You log into the Iowa Clinic website, the urgent care, and it tells you exactly how many people are waiting. I did it, told the wife, there's only 4 people in line. Go right there, and got her in there within like 30 minutes. It was incredible. They've been a long-time sponsor of what we do here at Cyclone Fanatic.
2 kids with broken bones that healed thanks to the Iowa Clinic. Real quick.
What
I
did
didn't
Theo
want to
break? I remember Edward.
Theo broke his foot.
Oh,
last
yeah,
summer.
yeah. I forgot about that. Okay.
Real quick, want to mention this. This has not got enough run in the Iowa State fan base.
Okay.
I know it's NFL preseason, and we wanted to talk about our guy, Anthony Johnston, real quick. How about this, everybody? Did you know Iowa State has 20 former players in NFL camps right now?
Wow. I did not know that.
20. You want me to read them?
Yeah.
Okay, for Baltimore. Charlie Kohler, TJ Tampa. TJ's now playing. He had a surgery during the early summer. He's now participating, and they're very pleased with TJ, by the way. Big fan of TJ Tampa. Detroit, David Montgomery. Green Bay, our guy Anthony Johnson, and also Dimitri Stanley,
saw that.
he brought up.
That was in Flick's column.
Houston, Xavier Hutchinson. The LA Rams have Jake Hummel. Minnesota has Mr. Kane. He'll always be Nwangu to me.
Wongwu.
He'll always be Nwangu to me. New England, our guy LaMichael Petway, now a tight end.
Really?
Yeah. New Orleans, Michael Jacobson.
Big Mike. Yep. Baller. That's an incredible story.
And now Mike Rose just got signed by
I saw that.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay.
New York Jets, the New York Cyclones. Brees, Allen, Will, first team snaps on Saturday. Got a horrible roughing the passer call. It was an awful call. San Francisco, some guy. Washington, Julian Good-Jones. Remember JGJ?
Julian Good-Jones is getting another crack at
And
the league.
Ben Nickel.
Really?
Ben Nickel's on the squad right now.
I knew Ben was going to line somewhere.
Cincinnati has Akeem Butler.
Yep. The dream.
And Dallas has Willie Harvey, another battle
Does
clone.
Butler stick this year?
I don't know what his contract is. It's hard to make a roster. It really is.
Yeah.
I hope he at least gets on that practice squad for the year.
Make a little money.
Make a little money. And then Denver, our guy, Ennio Wazirike, back in the fold. Thank goodness for him.
Yeah. Man.
20 guys.
It's amazing, too.
20 guys.
It's one of the things I hate about the media. The day that the gambling thing dropped, all these people are villainized. They're horrible. And now that all this reporting's been done about the sham that thing was, like, who's talking about it now on Talk
Does anybody
Radio?
know he's even playing for the Broncos
No, that's my
now?
point.
Yeah.
We don't do that as media. And I hate that about our industry.
Agreed.
That's what pissed me off about the Bill Finley thing the most. The Nicky Moody thing.
Nobody says, oh, our bad.
Like, we spent, on my show, I mean, I was guilty of it even though I was defending Coach. We spent 3 days talking about it. And then afterwards, when the settlement happens, it's like, oh, okay, this happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
something rubs me the wrong way
Yeah,
about that.
I don't know. I think it's, let's see. We got oh, geez. Another injury for the Vikings, Chris.
Jordan Addison has been carted off.
Okay, no more. Put them in bubbles. Put them in bubbles. We're not doing preseason games. We're not practicing. We're just playing Madden football.
Not even thinking about football.
We're not even thinking about it. Are you gonna be okay, Chris?
I'm fine. I just like what I want is them to tank. Like, don't try.
Do you want to join them?
Yes, please.
Get tanked?
Don't try. Like what they're gonna do. Like they should easily just go out and win 2 games this year. Have the first pick. Stack this thing up. What they'll do is they'll be just good enough. Mm-hmm. And like this is stupid. This is.
Who's the number 1 projected pick?
I don't even. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry to laugh, but
again, like if you would have talked to me a week ago and you said, "Chris, what do you want to see out of JJ McCarthy this year?" I would have said, "I want him to learn behind Sam Darnold and observe for a year." So, like in that it's a meniscus. This isn't Dante Culpepper's knee injury. This isn't Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, like he almost died.
He did.
Okay, like this is not that. So it's fine. That can still happen. The problem is that, if Addison's out, if he just tore up his knee, that's a guy you kind of need to have that in the future. They're still good enough where they're going to win 6-7 games. Although I did put a massive bet for me. I put 10 units on the Vikings under 7.5 wins 2 weeks ago.
There you go.
And that's looking pretty good right now.
Send it to the
That was one of my favorite bets I've ever made in history.
Well, wewillcollective.com when you win.
I cannot
Packers,
be a donor.
So Packers, Lions, or Bears now?
To win the division?
Yeah.
Lions.
You think?
Yeah.
Are we buying them again?
Yeah, you think you have
Our
to.
guy David?
Yeah, I mean, the Packers are a really good wild card team.
Yeah, the Jordan Love stuff's kind of going crazy.
Yeah, I think we might be. He's going to be good. But
on that note, can we keep this guy, Brock Purdy, in bubble wrap?
Don't even play him.
I mean, I say this 100% realistically. As long as he doesn't suffer a significant injury this year, he's going to be making over $40 million starting next season. $40 million. It's got to be really hard for him. How do you not?
Kidding.
Well, no, but how do you not think about that if you're him? That would be so. The only thing that can, I truly believe, get in the way of him making $40 million per year for the next 5 years is if he gets hurt this year. But he has to play. He can't just not play.
Yeah.
That position is insane.
They better win this year.
But their windows, that's the thing. And that's the other part, CW. You're right. Because once he gets paid $40 million, then the roster's going to be in
and then he's going to get shit all over.
He'll get complained, yes.
It's the way the NFL works. And that's the other issue with this McCarthy thing. You really, if you're the Vikings,
lost a year.
Well, yeah, you got 3 years after this to win. And because if he's good, will the Eagles ever be good again with Jalen Hurts making what he makes? But you have to pay him.
Mahomes is the example of how it can work. And he is.
He was on an escalator, but he's so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If JJ McCarthy could become the best version of himself, and it won't matter because he's not good enough to overcome the salary cap thing.
So real quick, and we can wrap it up. Back to college football. There are now several college athletic departments that are hiring former NFL personnel people, GM types, to run their GM operation for their football team.
We've got hoods. It don't matter.
Well, but yes, but the point is, it's going to be similar. You're going to have a cap-ish.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have to decide.
Does this D tackle?
Right. Am I paying my quarterback, or am I trying to get okay, I'm going to play my young quarterback? And
that sounds great to me, and I'm all about this. There needs to be some transparency, though, with the fans.
It's
right. And what I'm saying is you can grow your sport that way.
You would get a lot of attention. It would make the offseason even more
If you're super secretive about it, it's just going to, 1, piss people off, and 2, they're going to be less interested. There's got to be some transparency with it.
I wonder if you can ever get there.
I don't know. Yeah, and why do they have to tell you? Especially in your deal, you have no reason to tell people what you're paying guys. And I don't know why a lot of these collectives do that. Where they leak it. I think it's because they want to show like how much they're doing, but I don't think it helps the player.
Yeah.
My point is, if they are under contract and stuff or a public institution, like I feel like if they're smart, like from a PR, like I think it'd be a smart thing to.
Or would the kids get more blame?
Yeah, but this is
Like
a little bit.
I was running into this right now with their quarterback.
I know, but I'm gonna go a little bit Mike Gundy on you here. It's like y'all want the check.
You can take
Like
the criticism.
when you were just a student athlete and you had your scholarship, it was one of those deals. But now that you guys are basically employees, even though they're not, quote unquote, that's a whole sham.
I'll leave you with one thing.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it heighten it? Look at what the transfer portal's done for basketball. The most popular Cyclone Fanatic is right after the season during portal season. We don't ever have more subscribers. We don't ever have more traffic.
And
Football could be that.
that's why the NFL is so popular.
Yeah,
is it
'cause you got
doesn't
the draft.
stop. It doesn't stop.
You got the schedule release.
You can turn this into a positive. That's and you saw the SEC even came out with mandatory injury reports.
Look at me. We go on vacation for
We're
2
solving
weeks
the
and we
world's
come back
problems.
and we get all these great ideas just firing off at all cylinders.
100% true. And this is going to make it even better this winter. There's at least 2 programs in the Big 12 that spent more on one individual player than the Iowa State basketball team spent on its entire roster.
Kansas did, we know, or Kansas State did. We know that. Was it Kansas? Mm-hmm. Kansas and Kansas State? Mm-hmm. Where the hell did they get all their money down there? I know Kansas, they got doctors, there's energy down in Manhattan, right?
I don't know where Tang's getting it, but the point is when Iowa State beats Tang again, so that's K-State, right? So it's not slowing down, is my point. And Iowa State's probably going to be better than K-State, but that's where I'm like, one guy is getting more than all these guys. So that's why, we might hit you over the head a little bit more in the next couple.
My favorite two are the these Baylor fans.
But to your point, I don't know why they shared that K-State. I mean, I don't know if that's going to make them.
It doesn't help anybody
look any better.
That's why, like, if as your friend, if I knew you were sharing that, and like I would tell you to stop because it doesn't. I'm saying in the new era where there's an actual cap and we have GMs. Why do you think like Formula One racing is taken off in America? It's not the product. The product sucks.
It's the story.
It's the stories behind it. It's this driver has a history with this principal, and they're flirting with this guy. Why do you think the NBA off season's more entertaining than the regular season? No, the playoffs are the best. It's sports are a soap opera.
That's a good point.
I guarantee you, like if you listen to these NASCAR podcasts like I do, set records the last 3 days in traffic.
Drama.
Because of that wreck that you talked about. Yep. And people want to know, what do you think? Should he be taken away with and it helps that the guy who did that is this rich kid who's the son of, or grandson of Richard Childress, right? Like there's
the whole Dale Earnhardt thing.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind it. We want the stories.
I think you're right. It's changing so fast.
Yeah.
It's
not going to get there overnight.
It makes you nervous. It's like, oh, are we really doing this? But at the same time, there's a reason why the NBA and the NFL are the most valuable products right now. It's because the drama.
And it's like their Instagrams.
And it's all
stuff. Like, so these players, here's the problem though. Do I think that a 19-year-old who didn't have a great upbringing, or maybe one who even did, I don't know. I had a great upbringing and I would have been an idiot on Twitter when I was 19.
Fair.
I'm an idiot on Twitter half the time now. Do I think it's like mentally like healthy for you and like smart for you to just be airing dirty laundry about your defensive back coach?
Still kids.
Right. So it's interesting stuff. All I'm doing is getting texts about the Jordan Addison thing right now. I have like 14 text messages about it. I told you guys, All
Just
of you
keep-
idiot Vikings
Hey
fans.
man, keep your bad vibes, your bad juju.
No, this is good because I've learned over the years both of my teams can't be good at the same time.
right.
So this
that's-
is good for Iowa State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like keep them
Anytime
up
the
there.
Vikings are good, Iowa State's like struggling. Anytime Iowa State's good, the Vikings are 3-12.
Who else?
You know?
Anybody else can get hurt? Like
At this point, I want the whole roster hurt. Hawkinson,
just not gonna.
yeah, right. Like,
Hey.
yeah, Wong Wu, we need
Wong
you
Wu,
to
we're
get
going.
paid.
She can redshirt everyone. Just not have a count against their
Of course not.
contract.
We're good guys.
Like, seriously. That Jordan Addison deal is a big deal, though. If you look at Justin Jefferson, like now you're really
Well, now he might want to trade, right?
well. He just signed the biggest contract for a non-quarterback in history. He ain't trading him. Kidding me? I said trade him before he signed the contract because I don't like giving that much money to one
At
guy.
what point do college athletics are there trades?
You can't until they're employees.
I know. I'm saying.
You know, like you can't. Like they have to be employees, and there also has to be collective bargaining. Which do you think we will ever get there with that? And then we're gonna wrap this up.
Do I think we will eventually? Yes.
So you think would that be per sport?
Yes.
Because my question would be,
Yeah, we're-
like Spencer Petras
Yeah.
is the quarterback at Utah State, who is in a very different situation than Rocco Beck
For
at
sure.
Iowa State. Like,
It'd be really-
could collective bargaining really represent both players?
No, I mean, collective bargaining will happen if and when we go to the monster conference model, i.e.
The Super League.
Super League, whatever that looks like. And I'm of the opinion bigger Super League than smaller. So I think there's a world where it's those 4 big conferences that split off, and then the Olympic sports are just that. They're just club sports.
What a show. Our entire feed
We
is
covered-
now Jordan Addison. Pissed off the Jacobson building.
You didn't.
I hope not. I'm not
You
trying to
don't-
be
we're not-
mean. I'm trying to help. Like, I will come in and give you guys as many ideas, and you can tell me I'm stupid, and I'm totally fine with it. I just want to help.
I do like the volleyball idea. I think
It's a
that's
great idea.
really
And
good
those
idea.
young ladies deserve big crowds.
awesome.
They have a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I agree.
They have a phenomenal product. Like the Beauty and the Beast wrestling gymnast. That's a great idea. It's one of the smartest things I ever did.
Okay, all right. We're gonna find a
I'll MC it.
volleyball.
They won't want me to do
No,
that,
they
but I
probably
will.
won't.
They will not want me with the microphone on a Friday
What's
night
the,
before a football game.
You want because you're making enemies already. Do we know what the song is yet for this year? The entrance.
I think it's the same one.
I heard a rumor. I'm not going to share it.
Thunder.
I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor. I'm leaving it at that.
Well, you can't do that.
No, I am. That I think the entrance will be better. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, it can't. It has to be. Do you remember
all I'm
the
saying.
one last year? The players, like they was completely off
But then
timing.
the TCU game was great.
Yeah,
They
no, it was
fixed
phenomenal. Like they fixed it. Yeah, but it was like nobody knew when they were
Where it's
supposed
going.
to.
Yeah.
The smoke on the water coming back.
God,
I cannot confirm nor deny Aiden.
bum 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 bum. I love
Paul Rose
Rhodes.
leads the team out. Just-
I love Rhodes. Rhodes to me like is fine wine. He gets better every year.
I just love.
I
looking
look back at the Rhodes there and love it
so
more.
It was amazing. And then they'd walk down the stairs in the Jacobson, and then Paul's, got that
Paul's like cracking his neck.
going. Ready to
See, I think you know how Dabo Sweeney kind of runs out in front of Clemson and kind
Yeah,
of makes
yeah,
it about
yeah.
himself.
They run
Iowa
down
State
the
should
slide.
bring in Paul Rhodes just to
do
be that guy.
I
Just the hype guy.
Yes, have him lead the team out. He can give the pregame
And then we had
speeches, maybe.
our good buddy Jeff Johnson. That was probably back before you even remember, Aiden. I'm going to say Iowa. Y'all say State.
It's like, oh, well, here's their power.
Oh, my God. I love
Do you have
Jeff
a-
Johnson.
We haven't mentioned this. There is a new host in stadium.
Yes. What's her name? She
Jackie Schmillen.
yes, she's done a lot of local television and stuff over
She's
there.
the Minnesota,
Now
Iowa
she has a
Wild.
connection to dirt racing in the her
only you
husband.
would know that.
Yeah, no, she does. I've seen her out at tracks, but she sings national anthems at a lot of dirt tracks and stuff. So what is that going to be like?
I'm not sure exactly.
Hey, they're trying.
We're trying.
And I think that I've said this so many times. The siren, like all the things that they've added to Jack Trice over the years, is so much better than it was 10 years ago. They've done a great job. Hilton is second to none. Like it's
Oh,
just
and that scoreboard.
oh yeah, it's easier to do a great presentation indoors, I think.
A little more controllable.
Yeah, and it's smaller, so it like doesn't phase out. One of the best things they've done was that football facility with the trace
Yes.
in the background is
great.
one of the most beautiful, like perfect things that they've done at Iowa State.
We're not even going to get into it. Sunday, Campbell wore the Clonado sweatshirt. Big controversy. It's been too long. We don't have time.
Hassel's texting me about this.
We don't have time today.
I don't care anymore. Does that make me old or does that make me substance over flash?
I think more old.
Okay, because I just want to win games. I just want to win the game.
No, I think bringing the Clonado back, but let's replace the tertiary blue with black.
Can
to
we
get it back in this era?
Do the Bugle logo on a black helmet?
No. Nope, that's not coming back.
Wrestling does it. It looks great.
You're going to die on that hill, and that's okay.
I will. And come at me. I don't even give a damn. Tweet at me. It's not a bad logo. It was poor placement on that horrible Cardinal helmet, and it all blended in together. If you debut that thing on a white or a black helmet, we have a very different vibe.
Okay, we're going to continue this conversation in LeClaire.
We're going to open up this bottle of Cody Road. We're going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Mechdyne. This was a fun show. Blum, we need to go without rundowns more often.
Yes.
We are presented as always by Mechdyne, signing off from the Wild Road Casino Studios. I'm Chris Williams. He's Brent Blum. We will see you on Friday night in LeClaire.